Hello everyone. I'm going to take the opportunity this afternoon to try and clarify the debate that's going on amongst many of our members following reporting of the RCM Legal Birth Conference on our website. I want to make two things absolutely clear. The first is that the RCM understands and totally supports the fact that women have a right to make an informed choice about the care and treatment they receive. And we absolutely support the fact that women may opt out of nationally agreed guidelines and may choose to have their care in a way that is not in line with these guidelines. The role of the midwife is to support women, give them advice and guidance about making such choices, and to look after them regardless of the circumstances. The second thing that I'd like to be absolutely clear about is that the RCM supports women's right to have a choice about where they give birth. And we believe that NHS maternity services should be ensuring that the resources are available so that all women can be confident that they will be able to get that choice at the point at which they are in labour. So I do hope that has clarified the RCM's position on these incredibly important issues, and I do hope that our members recognise that we will continue to lobby very hard on your behalf to make sure that these issues are understood and, as I say, that the resources are available. This is not, however, to deny that there are dilemmas around both of these issues. The issue of women making choices, for example, has already raised a lot of consternation among midwives. Are women entitled, for example, to choose to have an elective caesarean section when there's no medical reason for that intervention? It also is quite clear that there is a dilemma for midwives who are providing maternity services when resources are not adequate. In these circumstances, what do they do? What do they do in the extreme situation when a labour ward is incredibly busy and a woman goes into labour at home? What do they do to ensure that women are kept safe? And that is a dilemma that is real out there in our current provision of maternity services. And it is important that midwives try and get clarity as to how they should behave when these dilemmas face them during their day-to-day practice. The difficulty for the RCM, I think, on that second issue, the issue of the right to have your choice of place of birth, is that there are different legal opinions about this. There is the issue that home birth is a fundamental human right, and that has been contested and indeed demonstrated to be the case in Europe. It has never been fundamentally fought out in a court of law, actually in the UK. And both Elizabeth Piotrowska and Barbara Hewson, who've been involved in this debate, do acknowledge that it won't be until a case comes to the UK courts that we will have an absolutely dead certain legal position on this. But I do think the important thing to say is that both Barbara and Elizabeth are talking, I think, about the extreme situation. What do you do when your back's against the wall and resources are finite? Does the woman have a human right to be cared for at home, or does the provider have the right at that point to say to the woman, you need to come into hospital? And I think it is only that really extreme situation that is under debate. I don't think Barbara would say that we shouldn't be providing women with the choice of home birth. So it is really critical for us at the RCM that we continue to lobby for enough resources so that we are really only in very, very extreme circumstances faced with that problem. And as I think Elizabeth rightly says, women should be given virtually a promise of a home birth. And if we can't make that promise, we really have to explain to them exactly why. I think the role of the RCM in all of this is really to try to help our heads of midwifery to work with the clinical commissioning groups and the other health service providers in the other countries to make sure that we're not hitting these crunch points, because only women suffer. So these dilemmas I think we do need to raise at our conferences, and we will be doing so at our annual conference in November. I think the issue, however, that I also want to stress in relation to everything that's being said about our legal birth conference is that the RCM cannot control what our speakers say. We invite eminent people from all sorts of backgrounds and with all sorts of points of view to express these points of view, and they have to be able to do that. Our members need to perhaps understand that that isn't always the RCM's point of view that's being expressed. But I do also want to say about the Legal Birth Conference, and I was actually there in the morning and was chairing when both Lorna Muirhead and Barbie Hewson were speaking, that their comments were made in a context, that there was a lot of challenge, a lot of debate, and a lot of discussion. And it is difficult, I think, to understand exactly what both speakers were saying if one wasn't actually at the conference. So I do hope that clarifies the situation, and perhaps just before I go, I would stress the RCM's absolute support of women's right to make an informed choice and women's right to choose their place of birth, and only we would say that that was only a real dilemma when resources are absolutely stretched and women need to be kept safe. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.